Rupert Sheldrake's Concept of the Scientific Priesthood by Dave Marsland of Cardiff Theosophical Society. Rupert Sheldrake, born 1942, a renowned British biologist and author, is known for his controversial views on the nature of scientific enquiry and the role of scientists in society. One of his most thought-provoking concepts is that of the scientific priesthood, which challenges the traditional understanding of science as an objective and open-minded pursuit of knowledge. The concept of the scientific priesthood is outlined in his book The Rebirth of Nature, published in 1990. To understand Sheldrake's concept of the scientific priesthood, it is important to first grasp his broader critique of the scientific establishment. Sheldrake argues that the dominant scientific paradigm, often referred to as mechanistic materialism, has led to a dogmatic and close-minded approach to scientific enquiry. According to Sheldrake, this paradigm is upheld by a select group of scientists who act as gatekeepers of knowledge, enforcing orthodox views and suppressing dissenting voices. This notion of a select group of scientists wielding disproportionate influence over the direction of scientific research forms the basis of Sheldrake's concept of the scientific priesthood. Sheldrake's concept of the scientific priesthood has far-reaching implications for our understanding of the scientific enterprise. By likening the scientific establishment to a priesthood, Sheldrake is drawing attention to the power dynamics and social structures that shape scientific discourse. He argues that just as priests in traditional religious institutions hold authority over matters of faith and doctrine, the scientific priesthood exercises control over what is deemed acceptable knowledge within the scientific community. Furthermore, Sheldrake suggests that the scientific priesthood is not merely a passive custodian of knowledge, but an active enforcer of orthodoxy. This enforcement takes the form of peer review processes, funding decisions, and the dissemination of research through academic journals. In this way, the scientific priesthood exerts influence over which ideas are legitimised and which are marginalised, thereby shaping the trajectory of scientific inquiry. Unsurprisingly, Sheldrake's concept of the scientific priesthood has been met with criticism from within the scientific community. Critics argue that Sheldrake's characterisation of scientists as a priesthood is an oversimplification that ignores a diversity of thought and methodology within the scientific community. They contend that while there may be instances of groupthink and resistance to new ideas, the scientific enterprise as a whole is characterised by a commitment to evidence-based inquiry and self-correction. Moreover, critics point to the collaborative and self-correcting nature of scientific research, wherein ideas are subjected to rigorous testing and scrutiny by the broader scientific community. They argue that this process, while not immune to biases and power dynamics, ultimately serves as a check against the consolidation of power by a scientific elite. In response to these criticisms, Sheldrake maintains that while the scientific community may espouse ideals of open inquiry and self-correction, the reality is far from this ideal. He points to instances where scientists have been ostracised for challenging prevailing paradigms, and where funding and publication opportunities have been withheld from those whose work does not align with established dogma. Overall, Rupert Sheldrake's concept of the scientific priesthood offers a provocative lens through which to examine the social and political dimensions of scientific enquiry. While his characterisation of scientists as a priesthood has been met with scepticism and criticism, it serves as a reminder of the need for ongoing reflection on the power dynamics that shape the production and dissemination of knowledge. Whether one fully subscribes to Sheldrake's views or not, his concept of the scientific priesthood invites us to critically evaluate the ways in which scientific knowledge is constructed and legitimised in society.